Hello and welcome to IFI LEADS 2022. This is a truly unique opportunity. A chance to hear from a quartet of distinguished professionals who are at the absolute apex of interior architecture and design. A masterclass from global leaders in the industry.
Embracing a new world reality, we need critical understanding and modern to today design considerations for all environments supporting our lives. Seeking new opportunities, we know that now, more than ever, we need vision, originality, and adaptability. IFI LEADS, the IFI Luminary Expert Architects and Designers Speaker Series, as an annual event, is conceived to learn from our established world leaders who shed light and offer inspiration for design thinking. With this 2022 IFI LEADS inauguration, we seek to reconnect with the broadest essence of creativity and its meaning.
Bringing these incredible speakers together is the work of IFI, who would like to express our warmest gratitude to our title sponsor, Sure Contract. We share their goals and forward-looking, human-centered approach to service and design, giving a smarter impact to all that we and they do.
At Sure Contract, we believe we have a responsibility to each other and to our habitat, to people and planet. For 2 decades, this core belief has been at the heart of our products and operations. Sustainability is what unites us. It is our foundation and our purpose. It is the air we breathe and the earth we stand upon. We believe that our similarities are greater than our differences. Everybody counts. People together, planet forever.
Walter Mariotti is the epitome of a Renaissance man. He studied philosophy in Siena and Harvard, economics and management at Bocconi in Milan, and his CV runs across a range of roles and disciplines, including university professorships, a journalistic career, and founder of Quid, a boutique of culture economy and strategic consultation. He is the editor-in-chief of Domus, with the task of conceiving, directing and developing the Domus system, including magazine, website, archive, events and intelligence. His achievements have impressed and inspired many. Always engaging, engrossing and fascinating. Walter Mariotti.
I personally think that it's very important to reflect about the word creativity, especially after the pandemic period that we always hope it's going to reach an end. I think it's important because the creativity is the place that nowadays, in our complex time, in front of the fourth capitalism, it's acquired what in the past was the place of politics, and maybe not only politics. It's evident that the formula and the algorithm that dominate reality until recent time don't work anymore. It's also evident that the major explanation of this changing of reality, it's the digital infrastructure. It's also true that the digital and the advent of the digital world, it's a real revolution for our understanding of reality. But I think that the point is a little more complicated. What happened with the digital and the technology in our life is that technology is a concept that all the philosophy of the last century indicated as a very huge shift in conscience, in the way that we could indicate as theory. Theory is a Greek word that reminds us a time which is eternal, and it was the delegation of people that in ancient times was sent to look at the games. The games were Olympics, for example. The theory, the delegation, could watch but not participate. And in fact, we encounter this verb, theorein, in the poetic tradition, like Homerus. And this indicates that theorein is the opposite of another verb, which is skeptomai. Skeptomai, skepticism, it's a kind of different way to look at things. In our times, this philological approach, it's very interesting for me to understand why creativity and design are very important in our times. Because also design is a strange word. Design, which is used all over the world in a very, day-by-day expressions, it's not so simple word. First of all, design, it's a noun and a verb. But this duplicity open up also different dimension of the verb. Design, it's definitely a word coming from Latin. And in this design is inside a secret. Design is not a pacific verb. It's not a pacific activity. Design, it's a verb that consider inside a kind of plot, a kind of dangerous intention. And in fact, coming back to the poetic tradition, we can easily affirm that the first design object was the horse of Troy, was the machine that Ulysses and Menelaus realized to make a trick. Design is something that inside has always a dangerous intention, but this dangerous intention, it's not a dangerous intention like we can imagine, but is even more powerful. Because realizing object, applying creativity to the single moments of our life, it's something which goes beyond the creation of objects. It's inciting and affecting our behavior. So the design is not just choosing a table instead of another table. It's not something related to an aesthetic dimension of the word, but it's something very political. A designer is a person who is able, through creativity and putting together functionality and aesthetic, to change the world, to change the way that we approach the world. And this is more true in our times, where our life are dominated by design. Since the morning when we wake up and go to the bathroom and brush our teeth and have a glass of water and make a shave and so on, any moment of our life all over the world are dominated by design, are dominated by objects that give us a different interpretation of our life, are dominated by an intention, which is a good intention, but which contains a secret, which is an intention to change our habits, to change our mentality. For that reason, design is so central. And for that reason, an application of design like architecture could be very, very dangerous. So it's very important to be careful about that. When I say that architecture is related to design, I don't want to say something very, revolutionary. I want just to put your attention to this distinction. Because, all these categories that we are historically validated, architecture, urban planning, landscaping, interior design, product design, social design, are very vague. Maybe it's very easy for me to try to give you an example. Maybe these categories are very true on the paper, but when you approach things, you see that the borders between these categories are very, very thin, very, very unstable. And I could say that depend from the distance from the object. Making architecture nowadays, it's like redefining the relation, not just between the space, the light, the proportion, the materials. This is also part, very important of that. And not only even the relation with technology, which big part have rolled in the last 20 years in architecture. In my reading, in my perspective, always depends from the relation, emotional and also physical, that humans have to the world, to the reality. So in this interpretation, we could say that approaching an object, we are doing and dealing with landscaping. And going further, approaching more, we are looking at urbanism. And even more approaching, we are doing with architecture. And even more approaching, we are doing in design, and even more and getting closer and closer and closer, but we are doing by project design. So, if you look at the world in this perspective, you see that the definition that we have changed drastically. And also, you understand also why we are now experiencing a huge, deep, and silent revolution about the centrality that architecture and design and landscaping and interior design and, in a word, creativity has in our life. When an architect is assigned to define and to design a square, the problem is not just the relation between materials and space, empty and whiteness. The problem is, who is the fruitor of this square? Who are the humans who are passing through the square? Which are their beliefs? Which are their tastes? Which are their religion? Are they female, male? And how is their relation with the sex gender? How is the matter of climate change? And now we see that all these elements are putting at the center of our reflection, but more of our action, the redefining meaning of creativity. So creativity is not just an aptitude, aesthetical or philosophical. It's something very concrete. It's something very practical, and I would say also political and economical. If you think to, for example, museum, you see how the exhibition of the past masterpiece, of the creativity of the past, is something extremely concrete and deeply political, because it's an affirmation of identity, of the artists that maybe are Italian, but they are shown at the Louvre in Paris or at the National Gallery in London or in Washington. And so this is a way to look at creativity, in this case of the past, which plays a role more and more important in our life. And what is going on in our days, it's demonstrating that creativity will be more and more important. Only through creativity, only acknowledge to ourselves in first place, and then to the authors, the new role that creativity plays in our lives, we could try to develop new sensibilities and to set up new ways to change the world in a more human way. Thank you.